Little intro coming up here. Last about a minute.
Dum dum, diddle dum dum, diddle dum dum, diddle dum dum. There was a turtle by the name of Bert, and Bert the turtle was very alert. When danger threatened him, he never got hurt. He knew just what to do. He ducked and covered, ducked and covered. He did what we all must learn to do. And you, and you, and you, duck and cover.
Be sure and remember what Bert the Turtle just did, friends, because every one of us must remember to do the same thing. That's what this film is all about. Duck and cover. This is an official civil defense film.
Or pull a blanket over yourself or
Cooperation
something
with
like
the
that.
Federal Civil Defense Administration.
There's a little rattle that time, a little loud. Oh, I still got the volume. Hang on, folks. Duck and cover, and you will find a link below to that gym. And I can guarantee you, you can't get through that entire video without cracking up. I mean, it's just over the top propaganda. And that was created by your loving government, who wants nothing better than to take care of you and wants you to go back to just paying your taxes so they can put money away for their pensions and steal gas, steal computers, and marginalize. You know, it's interesting how the government works when you look at it through history. They never do their job that you hired them to do. They just don't do it. That's the last thing they're going to do. It's always a work project for 100 years down the road, like the nuclear power plants on this planet. Let's come over, make sure I'm streaming, because I could be, as usual, talking to myself. Each night we try to stream for about an hour. 7, 8 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, British Columbia, Canada. And just always takes me a few minutes at the beginning. Collect my thoughts. You know, it's interesting how to go. It takes me a few minutes to collect my thoughts. If the stream, you see conversations to the right. Hi, Anthers. Yeah, I got down that time. Oh, I was laughing so hard at this one. There's a link below to it. But if you see a link, people talking to the left of the conversation, we're live streaming at that time, which is most nights. You can join in the conversation. Everybody gets a little cranky, including me. But most people are really good. And we do have some issues sometimes. We do have people that lash out, and there's people that get mad, and I get mad, and I lash out. Maybe that's why everybody's here anyway, because of the spectacle that is me. I'm Dana Durnford, in case you're wondering who I actually am. And Beautiful Girl by Dana is full of music, original music. There's a couple of thousand artists here. Most of these got albums, and you're not going to like them all, but you're going to like quite a lot of them, a few hundred of them. And the songs that I chose and the favorites is just a link to their site. Since then they put out much more original music, much better quality, most likely. And it's just a way to connect without listening to the canned music from the handful of corporations that control everything you see, everything you read, everything you watch. All your movies, all your billboards that have influenced you and your friends and your loved ones are from just a handful of corporations. Hi, Kathy, and I'd like to say hi to everybody before I start the stream. Hi, Kathy. Tonight we're going to talk about nuclear accidents, human experiments, how cow mutilation is blamed on radiation. And does my audio sound okay? We're having a lot of issues this week for some reason. Had 100 streams that were fine for the better part. Had some bad ones, but lately we thought we had all the kinks out of the system. Hi, Miss Milky. See, I can hear like this resonating going on, and that shouldn't be happening. Let me check something. Oh, hang on, folks. It's gonna get a bit loud. There you go. That'll help you. Hang on. I gotta turn my volume up. You gotta turn your volume up. But we won't have that crackling. My mistake. I was trying to do some recording today, and when you do a recording without the Adobe, which is what we're using right now, I have to turn and the squale up. So I apologize. Not much I can do about it. That'll be me. Hi, Ram, Albert, Jill. I'll finish off by saying hello to the next 10 or 20 people I can find here. Amter, Stanifu, Snafu, Mr. Dolls, Pop Those Balloons. Yeah, we're talking about a little robot. I'm actually making a big robot just like this one, except he's the same size as me. He's going to sit on my lap. I'm not sure if I'm going to name him Ken or... It's a personal joke. Hi, Rinarel, Lori, and Sylvia, Cats Alive, Candace. Ooh, let me see what we got going on here. Hi, Ping, Pam, Sylvia, Amthirst again, Lori, just Albert, Jill, Kathy, and Pam again. Let me get on with the show. We got to continue on. This is Nuclear Earth, Volume 5. And just to give you a slight recap for the first couple of minutes. We're 6 minutes into the stream, so I might as well get Boogie in. And pop. Come on, Billy. Want to play hardball with me tonight, Mr. Pewter? They done an update, and... Okay, so McAllister's bomb manufacturer in McAllister, Oklahoma, during the Vietnam War was averaging 22 million bombs a year. 22 million bombs a year. 22 million bombs a year. And they weren't, just making the bombs for something to do. They were making them to go drop them on other people. That's the Americans. And now all they make is at McAllister is uranium-238, which is dirty bombs. There was a lot of dirty bombs back then, different types. But now they take nuclear waste and they turn it into bombs and bullets and projectiles. And then they use them against people's family homes. And that is one of the carnages we've got in our history here, and I'll cover a bit of that later. But right now, because we're still up to 95. In 1995, now you will find there's a lot of UFO stories about cattle and animal mutilations. And if you look closely, you'll find out these are all close to nuclear power plants. And these were done by nuclear scientists. And then the cover story was to blame it on aliens and try to ridicule anybody that asked questions. And so everybody's afraid to ask questions, or everybody gets drowned out. And that was the UFOs, boy. So that's been going on for a long time. But they were experimenting on humans way back in the 40s. 350 women that were pregnant at one hospital were given injections of radioactive isotopes, hardcore cesiums and plutoniums, and even they drank it. Pregnant women now. And then they tracked the women and the children over their lifetime, and even dug up some of those dead people after they died of cancer. And they done this without their permission, without their knowledge, and told them it was something good. And that could happen at any hospital, and it does all the time. These are the kind of things we are up against. This nuclear industry every year is killing probably millions of animals, and certainly tens of thousands of beagles, which we showed a number of times here on this site. Dr. Raymond Gilmedy from Loveless, nice name, in New Mexico. They were killing beagle dogs and puppies at a phenomenal rate for almost 4 decades. And they were making them ingest plutonium, and they would get cancers. They would autopsy them. They would kill them early lots of times. They had other laboratories doing the same results or test on beagles to get independent results. And this went on for decades. So nuclear power is a mass murder. Nuclear power in general is only 3% of all electricity on the planet. There's around 2,500 nuclear explosions on this planet. And nuclear power is not power, that's a byproduct. It's about making directed energy weapons, and they need radioactive isotopes for those fuels. And now when you think about Nevada and you think about Alaska, where they had some years 30, 40, 50 nuclear tests. Now what does that mean to you? Well, when you have a nuclear test, you have radioactive fallout. And that duck and cover, in that era, that's what they were always talking about, how a single Russian nuclear weapon and the whole country will be covered with radioactive fallout. And they were teaching the entire population for years how to salvage food and salvage material and how to build shelters and fallout shelters. And so when fallout finally happens from an accident, that we think is an accident, but we can't really prove either side at all at this moment, but we can in a way. If we actually try, we can figure this one out. The nuclear fallout is still ongoing. It's still what I call a St. Paddy's Day, hemorrhaging into the environment and hemorrhaging into the ocean. In other words, St. Paddy's Day, they put dye in the river, and the dye flows down the river and turns the river a different color. Well, imagine if you never stopped putting the dye in. 1,440 minutes a day, 7 days a week, every month, 365 days a year after year, for a few years. How far downriver would that dye be after 1,200 days? 24 hours a day, 1,440 minutes a day putting dye in the river. That's what's going on with Fukushima. That's what's going on in Sellafield, England. That's what's going on off the coastline of California with 45,000 45-gallon drums. That's what's going on off Britain, where Britain, for 3 decades, disposed of all of their nuclear waste they could by bringing it out and dropping it off the ship in 45-gallon drums, and a lot of it in really shallow water, and a lot of it in popular places. And it appears that the biggest dumps are turned into sanctuaries after. And so they disguise it as a sanctuary. But these sanctuaries are where all the animals, migratory animals, will gather up. And so they're being, all the migratory animals are being destroyed. And that's what we've seen happen off California, off San Francisco, where they try to blame the mass carnage of the sea lions and the seals on measles that they've never been able to prove before that could happen. But that's what they came out last year and employed. When it's actually the 45,000 45-gallon drums, half of them have breached their containment. We fired 2.5 million rounds a month of uranium-238 from McAllister's bomb manufacturing facility, McAllister. 20 train car loads a day to Iraq. And 2.5 million rounds of dirty bombs. Those bullets, the A-10 Warthog shoots 1.5 tons a minute. That's 71 Nagasaki bombs worth of radiation a minute. On purpose. These hardened materials are only supposed to be used against tanks and hardened bunkers. They're not supposed to be used against family cars, family homes, distribution centers, schools, hospitals, bus shelters. And that's what Americans and British and the coalitions have done year after year. And it was on purpose. It's a genocide against the entire planet. Now that we have Fukushima, and I'll get into the video here, but now that we have Fukushima, we have raised the bar. It's an accelerated 3 melted cores. Chernobyl was 1 melted, 30% melted core. It was 1/3 the size of any of the reactors at Fukushima. And the ones at Fukushima are 3 times the size, in other words. And they're different fuels, much more toxic fuel. Chernobyl was a 30% meltdown, and they used graphite. Fukushima is using reprocessed nuclear missiles that have been sitting in silos for many decades, and using that to get the wicked isotopes for directed energy weapons. All nuclear. Well, let me go back to the 40 or 50 tests a year in Nevada and Alaska, for instance, and just think about the implications of this. no matter where you live, in what neighboring state around Nevada you're living in radioactive zones. This fallout that they're talking about is ongoing because when those detonations happen in the deserts, that we're going to talk about hopefully here in a second when I get back to on track here, but when those fallouts happens in those deserts from detonation, imagine this, it's like 40 or 50 Nagasaki's a year in Nevada. It's 40 or 50 Nagasaki's, but much bigger, a year in Nevada, but it's okay. Or it's 40 or 50 a year in Alaska. Nagasaki bombs every year for a number of years. Well, I mean, there was dozens anyway, at least every year. Some years there was 40. Some years it was 107. Not bigger than Nagasaki was a small bomb. And the radioactive fallout, you think there's nothing happened to that? But you got to realize that 5% of that, because there's this big blast and everything. But then what they say is a 5%, but there's a massive radioactive fallout. Anyway, huge cloud, huge plume, snowstorm. But at the same time, a whole lot of the fissionable materials is, it bonds with the ground. And so that's releasing radioactive materials, and you don't collect that. That's fissionable materials. That's dirty bombs sitting right there in the soil in Alaska and Nevada, releasing radioactive isotopes in your community. Every nuclear plant on the planet is releasing radioactive isotopes into your community from the nuclear spent fuel pools, which is a joke. They have to put them in the pools for many, many years to try to cool them down, the rods from the reactors. And the licensing agreement says they're going to be in the sarcophagus. But they boil about 120,000 liters a day of water off, and that's radioactive water. That's releasing radioactive atoms, particles, and isotopes, whatever you want to call it, into the community. Every day. Just because you can't see it or smell it or hear it or feel it, talk to it or have a beer with it, doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Well, you can't drink a beer with a radioactive. I guess you could if it was in your eyes. Hang on. We got trouble in paradise. I got trouble in paradise. My computer won't load up comments. One more try. And I just wanted to get it up there and make sure everything was working. And it's just going to keep giving me a hard time. There we go. Yeah, 33% of autopsies has thyroid tumors. That was on scene recording saying their checks and balances, pyrethra. I wonder how many Canadians got cancer from American nuclear tests, says John. That's a good question. A lot. Cancer takes a long time to grow. And this is how they've been getting away with it. But since the beginning of time, they've been using bananas as a measuring stick for radiation from radioactive fallout. And, beginning of time being about 70 years. They've been using this cliches of bananas and radioactive in your drinking water, which is potassium 40, same with bananas, and their homeostasis. And if you drink 7,500 becquerels of potassium 40, you off-gas 7,500 becquerels of potassium 40, it's irrelevant. It's the same with the banana. If you eat 12 becquerels of potassium 40 in banana, you off-gas it. But up till recently, this is what they've always put out there. And they're still doing it, but they're getting bashed now every time they do it because the hounds of Fukushima ain't going to take it no more. And they've been equating walking in the sunshine with man-made radioactive materials. And of course, it's got nothing to do with it. And they equated it with getting a dental x-ray and a chest x-ray. And why physically, you're dealing with the byproducts of man-made radioactive materials. It's not like you're ingesting radioactive particles from a nuclear meltdown. These are completely different and inappropriate, and an outright lie and a fabrication to equate those or anything like that, the insignificant normal background radiation that is irrelevant and has no right to be in this conversation, but we always got to come out and apologize. because that's what scientists, the superstars, the brainiacs, the people we give all our money to, will do to you. They're blatant lawyers. And then the media, of course, can't fact check it because they're PR firms. Their job is to sell whatever it is that person's going to say for that corporation. Or in this case, for their paycheck, which is the nuclear industry. The nuclear industry has abused every privilege. We have given every bit of money it ever wanted. We gave it all the equipment they could ever want. We gave them all the universities, and they still can't even get close to getting it right because they're not trying. All they're trying to do is make the most wicked, dangerous, directed energy weapon imaginable with radioactive isotopes from the most wicked concoction that has nothing to do with making power. Making power is a byproduct of the chain reaction. Fukushima needs 1 million gallons a minute. And just that process of boiling 1 million gallons of water at those extreme temperatures is you're killing all the microorganisms in the water. Just that process alone, you could destroy the very foundation of the planet. Just by all that water being boiling. The enormous amount of water we're talking about. You're destroying all the life in the water. You're annihilating it. 1 million gallons a minute in each reactor is extraordinary, see? You're killing the life in the water by boiling it. And don't think for a second that's not going to contribute to global warming and greenhouse gases. On the worst possible, not to mention, like you got Uranium City in British Alberta, Canada, they abandoned that city. There's 500 of those cities in Navajo they abandoned. It's a wasteland everywhere nuclear industry goes. 3% electricity, 97% of our nightmare is from nuclear waste. Iraq is a wasteland. You got whipped down there, releasing it constantly, and they have to come out and try to equate it with licking an iPhone charger in desperation because we beat them up so bad over the bananas and the walking in the sunshine and the dental x-rays. Right? We stomped their narrative into the ground. And this is the first time in history they've ever got blowback at like this, where they can't use the narrative without the comment section destroying them. The hounds will show up and have their say. Because it's ridiculous. How can you take anybody serious that's going to use that in an E equals MC square or a melted... There's 3 melted reactors at Fukushima. The fourth one detonated. The fuel pools caught fire. The implications of it, just that alone, not counting the 3 reactors, are very grave. The releases are very extraordinarily significant. We can't turn off the weapon. You can't just like snatch it out of the ear and put it back in the bottle. This is very toxic to everything on the planet. Man-made radioactive material. You're not going to find that on the moon. You're not going to find that on the sun. You're not going to find those isotopes on the sun because the sun makes a different type of energy. It's creating the elements. It's not destroying the elements. Whereas we, in the nuclear chain reaction that we call significant, is the worst way you could do it. It's the hardest way you could do it. It's the stupidest way you can do it. It's the easiest way to destroy a planet. And we're well on our way. We see in Russia, in the late 1940s, they had to evacuate. We're 22 minutes in, I'll keep track of it. In the 1940s, and I'll end on this, and jump to the other stuff here. But in the 1940s, they evacuated 7,500 communities, 9,000 square miles, because of radioactive fallout. There is nothing like that on the planet outside of this stuff that can destroy so much land permanently. Japan is destroyed from one end to another. Alaska and Arkansas or Nevada test sites. That's like all these Hiroshimas going after every year. It's the sickest, dementest, twistedest thing imaginable. And that people are living in those areas. These are cancer belts. You know, there's so many accidents, we can't even keep up with it, right? we've been at, this is volume 5. I'm late getting on the go on this one, but this is volume 5. And let me see if I got something running here. Okay. What have I got over here? Let me kill that. Don't. Kill that. Don't. Get rid of the background crap. Get rid of that. And got rid of that. There we go. We're rocking and rolling. Kinda. Okay. I left off on December 1995, Japan. The fast breeder sodium had a nuclear power plant sodium leak. Once again, every time I hear the word nuclear power plant, it's making directed energy weapons isotopes, the fuel, which is isotopes. State-run operator Donan was found to have concealed videotape footage that showed extensive damage to the reactor. So Japan has a long history. That was 1995. In India, there was another accident, radioactive helium. And you hear about the lack of helium on the planet? Well, they want it all for nuclear chain reaction for in the future. So they're gathering it all up, stealing it all, because they need it to do this monster thing to the planet with. They had a 2-year shutdown anyway for repairs in India. Leaked a lot of heavy water and radioactive materials into the Sagar River. 1995 again. In Maine, USA, steam generator tubes unexpectedly cracked at Maine Yankee nuclear reactor. Shut down of this facility for a year. That's 3 in a row, 1995. And, yeah, that's the same one, okay. May the 16th, 1995, same year. New Jersey, Salem, ventilation system failed. That's 4. Connecticut, 1996. Leaking valve forces shutdown of the Milestone Nuclear Power Plant Unit 1 and 2. Multiple equipment failure found. Like, they can't even put it in a sarcophagus. They can't even control these reactors. It's just a constant guessing game, even today. It's the stupidest thing imaginable on this planet. You can't get any stupider. Well, you can. You could be a nuclear scientist or a nuclear professor. But you got to be really evil to take that step. Because you know what you're doing is so wrong. You know how stupid it is. You know how sick it is and demented it is. But it's easy money. All you got to do is agree with everything they tell you. And just get the results on your peer review studies, whatever they wanted. And you got to get your money from the taxpayers. 1996 again, Florida, Crystal River. Balance of plant equipment malfunctions. Forces shutdown and extensive repair. Unit 3. 1996, reactor in Clinton, Illinois, USA. Reactor's recirculation pumps fail, prompting shutdown of the boiling water reactor in Clinton. 1996, Illinois, Seneca. Service water system fails, results in closure of LaSalle's Unit 1 and 2 for more than 2 years. So like each year, multiple issues, multiple releases. Not only that, every plant is naturally releasing it into your community anyway. There is nothing good about it. Let me keep going. 1997, Georgian soldiers suffered radiation poisoning and burns. They are eventually traced back to training sources abandoned, forgotten, and unlabeled after the dissolution of the Soviet Union. One was a 137 cesium pellet in a pocket of a sheared jacket, which put out about 130,000 times the level of background radiation at 1 meter distance. So it was a couple of million becquerels in just a pellet. That's brutal on a human body. They got burnt by it, right? March 1997, Japan, good old Japan, don't want to be left alone. 37 workers exposed to low doses of radiation, like a banana, right? Like a dental X-ray, right? Like walking in the sunshine, Dana. No, it's like a potato. No, it's like drinking water, Dana. Well, the ocean got natural uranium. We're not talking about natural uranium. We keep going. Da 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 da. That's a good one. It is believed that Pakistan had possessed nuclear weapons since the mid-1980s. Nobody knows because Pakistan was really secretive. They had some massive releases down there they never ever told anybody about. Major die-off down there are still going on from the radiation leaks from years ago. Pakistan conducted its first 6 nuclear tests at Chengan Hills in responses to 5 tests conducted by India a few weeks before. And the entire planet came out against them. It was in all the media. There was marches in the streets. Hundreds of thousands of people in each country marching in the streets. All the media, all the magazines came out and demonized them. At the same time, France set off a couple of underground nuclear tests and got caught. I don't know if you got that through. In 2004, the Pakistanis, A.Q. Khan, a key figure in the Pakistani nuclear weapons program, confessed to hitting an international black market ring involved in selling nuclear weapons technology. Canada gave it to them anyway, in the first place, with that in mind, right? So they can have an enemy. Just faulty shit. In particular, Khan had been selling gas centrifuges technology to North Korea and Iran and Libya. Now, North Korea got a bomb. What are they going to do with it? The frig are they going to do with it? They'll get annihilated. They need hundreds and hundreds like Israel, like the crazies down there. Well, Iran's got 49 bases around it. Military bases, USA installations that are stocked with Israeli weapons. They got American weapons, but that's why Israel wants the war, so they can sell weapons. They're the 6th biggest producer on the planet. But they're extremely connected, obviously. See, they dropped their name. They dropped down from the 4th biggest to the 6th biggest, try to make themselves not look so friggin' bad. Not for lack of trying, because their whole economy depends upon it, right? Who knows how many tests they done? You can be well. They done a lot of tests on humans way back. I haven't got that there. I'll get it though for the next one. As of early 2013, Pakistan was estimated to have a stockpile of around 100 to 120 warheads. Nothing. 1999, Japan can't keep his foot out of the fucking shitter. A fuel loading system malfunctioned and set off an uncontrolled nuclear reaction and explosion. There's nobody watching anybody out there. The NRC is asleep at the wheel at best. Their job is to be asleep at the wheel. 1999, France. An unexpectedly strong storm floods the Bayous nuclear power plant, forcing an emergency shutdown after injection pumps and containment safety systems failed from the water damage. May 25th, 1999, Waterford, Connecticut, USA. Steam leak in feed water heater caused manual shutdown and damage to control board annunciator at the Milestone nuclear power plant. Steam leak in a feed water. Steam leak. How often have we heard that one? September 1999, Japan. Hundreds of people were exposed to radiation. 2 workers later died. And this was not a nuclear power plant accident. It was a fuel fabrication facility. So where they're making the components. Fucking meltdowns. September 29, 1999, New Jersey. 1999 was a good year, eh? Major freon leak at Hope Creek Nuclear Facility caused ventilation train chiller to trip, releasing toxic gas and damaging the coiling system. Contamination of air and soil due to atmospheric testing is only part of the water issue. Water contamination due to improper disposal of spent uranium. You just fired in the poor people's countries now. and call it Patriot missiles when it's actually dirty bombs. Each and every one of them are a dirty bomb. Right? That's a dirty bomb. You're destroying somebody's home, family cars, schools with these dirty bombs. And people got no option but to go back. It's the sickest, twistedest thing imaginable. And then they got the decay of sunken nuclear-powered submarines is a major problem in the Kola Peninsula in northwest Russia. And various scientists have come forward with serious concerns about 32,000 spent nuclear fuel elements that remains in sunken vessels. And there have been no major incidents other than the explosion and sinking of a nuclear-powered submarine in August 2000. But you got these holes will, in the ocean, like barrels, they'll just deteriorate and release this stuff into the environment till the end of time. And if you don't try to recover them soon, that's the whole thing. We have all these universities and institutions, and we lock up all of our academic studies. We produce all these studies with our tax money, and with thousands of man hours and our professors, millions of dollars worth of equipment, and then a handful of corporations like Elsevier, Springer, and Wiley gets the copyrights to it. And we should be taking all these universities and putting them to work on how to solve these problems, how to recover all this material. Where's it all to? There's no shame in that. That's what we got to do. At some point in our future, if there is to be a future, we're going to have to deal with all of this. I don't know what the fuck we're going to do with the ocean. The Pacific Ocean is a wasteland. It's St. Paddy's Day, all day, every day. Just think of the radiation as dye. And imagine, because that's what it is like, if you could see it. And it's dye that won't go away, that doesn't dilute, it disperses and makes it more hideous. Because think about what an isotope can do, what an atom can do, what a radioactive particle can do. If you drop it in a glass of salt water with 100 million phytoplankton, the basis of the food chain, and oxygen, that isotope will kill all of that. That atom will kill all of them. And a billion other creatures in a glass, a drinking glass of salt water. So what happens if you unleash this onto the ocean? It's not like it just kills a glass and then it's finished. You can kill glasses of water for 4.5 billion years if it's uranium, for 250,000 years if it's plutoniums, and their daughters are 238 to 239 to 240, 241. 1967, a river dried up in Russia, and the winds carried the radioactive dust over thousands of square kilometers, and there was 500,000 citizens were at risk, and so they evacuated 1,000 square kilometers. And a decade before that, they evacuated another 1,000. But we get massive radioactive fallout in some places. February 2000, 3 deaths and 10 injuries in a Samuk Pakram, Prakarn, when a radiation therapy unit was dismantled. There was a lot of these that we don't hear about. Right? There's a lot of problems with radioactive waste where they put it into these machines and then kill people and then they throw it away. Getting radiation for cancer is asking to be killed. You're asking yourself to be killed. You got to eat natural and normal food. But there's no such thing as natural and normal food anymore because Fukushima is everywhere. That's a debate we have lots of. But if you eat GMO, there's no nutrients in it. It's still radiated, just the same as everything else out there. But at least the food, normal food, organic food, has nutrients in it. Yes, there's radiation everywhere. You can't escape it. Nobody can escape it. They raised the levels in your drinking water to 7,400 becquerels a cubic meter of cesium-137, a man-made radioactive isotope that didn't exist. You won't find it on Mars. You won't find it on the moon. You won't find it on this stupid planet. That's why we should never be allowed to get off this planet. Man does not have a right to go into space and do what they're doing here or somewhere else. That's the stupidest thing imaginable. I don't think humans can travel anyway, but we might conquer that, but we got to stop these fuckers from getting off this planet. There's no way they're getting off the planet. Fuck them. They destroyed this one, they're going down with the fucking ship. We're going to take them with it. But we could bring some common sense to this table because there is cancer cures, and that's what we need to know about. You know, with all these Beckles on the planet, and with the robotics coming by, they're probably looking at, you know, because that'll damage your organs. 11 Becquerels of radioactive material living in that environment will damage your friggin' organs, cause lesions on your organs. And if it's in your drinking water, you can't get it out of your fucking food. You can't get away from it. You can't escape it. You can't run away from it. You can go to places where there's less of it. That's true. But if you're living here, there's nowhere you can go. Bummer, I know. But that's what we got to deal with. You know, we got to, because the EPA didn't raise the level to 7,400 becquerels. I didn't do this, okay? That's the EPA done that. I'm not making this up. I don't make any of this stuff up. There's nothing to be gained by doing that. That's the opposite of why I exist. The bananas, they make that up. That has got something to do with radiation. Walking in the sunshine, they make that up. All your media makes that up and equates it with radiation. That got nothing to do with it. I'm here to tell you the truth. I'm not here to play any games. And you best learn. You best get your head on fucked and learn, so that you can have half a life. And that you got to learn. You got to use your voice and control these and speak out. The biggest fear these fuckers got is you using your voice. They can't handle that. That's why they do what they do. That's why they try to scare you with the NSA is spying on you, and Facebook is spying on you, and Google is spying on you. Fuck all of them. Do you think I care about them spying on me? Haha. Good for them. Maybe they'll learn something. I got a few fucking things to impart to these fuckers. You are maggots. You are scumbags. We are paying attention. We know who you are. We know why. That you can't survive much longer at this rate, and that you're just being a shithead now and causing grief. You're all in the boat together. Don't matter how much money you got, how much influence you got, and how much power you got, you ingested radioactive materials, and so did your children. So did your pet. So did your friends, and your mother, and your brother, and your aunt, and your uncle, and your sister, and your cousin, your nephew, your nieces, your inbreeds. You all got it. You can't escape it. Now you got to deal with it. And now you got to try to change something, because that's all you got left. You got to deal with it. And you will rise to that occasion. And you are rising to that occasion. Because you sense that something is not right every time you hear the word banana, or every time you hear the word walking in the sunshine, or every time you hear these cowards, these traitors, these monsters equate it with dental x-rays, or chest x-rays, or drinking water. These are the lowest form of life imaginable that does that. And we got a history. We got them in print, and we got them in video doing this. And our job right now is to destroy that narrative immediately and take that away from them. And so every time that they open their mouth, and they're going to be forced to open their mouth, we destroy their narrative. We ridicule their narrative. You got to lick that iPhone charger. It's trendy. Everybody got to do it. You got to lick that fucking iPhone charger. It's cool. Everybody got to do it. You got to lick it one fucking time. Lick that iPhone. Lick that iPhone charger. It's cool. Everybody got to fucking do it. Everybody got to fucking do it. Bring out your dead. And so she can't use that no more, and neither can anybody else, because I'm going to show up again. Lick that fucking iPhone charger. But this is how desperate they are, because we had badgered them over the bananas and the drinking water so much. This is what they came up with. Because normally they would have said it. That's what they would have said at that meeting. They would have said, it's no worse than the banana. It's no worse than walking in the sunshine. Now go the fuck home and shut up. That's what they would have said under their breath. Because they're superior. They think you're scum. They think you're insignificant dirt. I don't. I think you're fucking precious. And there's a lot of PR firms out there having their goes at us. It's endless. They got every trick in the book now. And we're the only opposition, literally, that gets back in their faces. Is the people that understand that this has to change immediately. That we have to educate. This is what I do anyway, is I try to educate a population as much as I can so that they can boldly shut down the mouthpieces. So that they know what the comebacks are. They know what the routine is. They can't be fucking... You can't pull it over on them. They'll beat you into the ground with logic and common sense. And they don't have to be rude. I'm rude sometimes, but I don't recommend that. But I get so much sometimes, I just get overwhelmed with it. And sometimes I just lash out. Like you, I'm no different. But I'm a little bit more directive when I'm doing that. And it's because I understand that 3% of the power is by nuclear energy, and they're sucking everything out of us. They're destroying everything in every community that got this stuff. Your taxes are being vacuumed away at an unimaginable rate just to try to decommission. You can't decommission a nuclear power plant. It means a nuclear power plant means a hole where your money will go till the end of time at a rate that will warp your fucking minds. And by people that will gladly take all the money, even if it fucking destroys you, they want more. They want raises. They got a union. They want to get their kids an education and get them into it too. They will suck you fucking dry. These are the vultures, the living vultures. Because radioactive waste, they never ever try to deal with it. They just keep taking money to try to deal with it, but they never do. No university actually works on it. A couple might. They'll get praised and put up on a pedestal as if they're something special. February 2003, Oak Ridge, Tennessee Y-12 facility. During the final testing of a new saltless uranium processing method, there was a small explosion fired by a fire. The explosion occurred in an unvented vessel containing unreacted calcium, water, and depleted uranium. There's nothing depleted about uranium. Not the processed uranium, not the stuff that got into a chain reaction. It's just, they call it depleted. It used to be DOLRAM, depleted uranium, low-level radioactive material. Somehow they got rid of those other digits off that acronym and call it DU, to deceive you. It's just a joke. It's radioactive material. If you took that and put it in your local river, you go to jail till the end of time. You say, hey, Your Honor, it's depleted uranium. You say, yeah, you go to jail. You say, but it's just depleted uranium. Yeah, but you're going to jail till the end of time. You're a monster. You destroyed that community. Yeah, but don't we fire that in everybody else's countries? In their communities? Yeah, but that's okay. They're brown people. They don't fucking matter. Right? We're patriotic Americans. It's okay. And I'm saying the corporation, not the Americans. I love the American people. There's a lot of crazy fuckers everywhere, no matter where you go. And we'll stop there on that part. I'll come over. Hang on. August 2000 to March 2001, in Panama, 17 patients receiving treatment for prostate cancer and cancer of the cervix received lethal doses of radiation. They kill every cell in your body, that's why your hair falls out, and in hopes that they kill all the cancer cells and then the cancer won't come back. It's the stupidest way you could ever treat this kind of... Drinking mountain water has a better result than chemotherapy or radiation treatment. Turmeric, dandelion, natural vegetables, natural fruit, but dandelion in particular, where it has every mineral. Even though, yes, it got radiation like everything else out there. You got no choice. There's no other options. But if you're eating GMO, you're fueling your cancers with GMO. You know, the glyphosate and the formaldehydes are only two of it that you ever hear me talking about because they block nutrition. They stop the uptake of nutrition, and they're dioxins. They're toxins that they engineered into the DNA of your food. You can't wash it off. You can't wash it off. a little bit serious here tonight. Let's come down and talk about something else for a second. Hang on. Most uranium on this planet is made in, 36% of the uranium is made in Kazakhstan, where they had around 500 detonations. And they told them there was no natives there or nothing like that. Here you go, Zoe. And Canada is the second biggest one with 15%. Scum! And Australia with 12%. You fuckers, man. Not as bad as Canada, the pricks. Niger with 8%. Namibia with 8%. I don't know if these are accurate. This is the World Uranium Mining Production 2012 map. Uzbekistan, 4%. USA, 3%. They got tons of it down there. Saving it for the fucker around later on. China, these are all lies anyway. Ukraine, 2%, blah, blah, blah. Navajo, there was 500 abandoned uranium mines. Destroyed the entire freaking state, just like Alaska, except more hideous. Just like Nevada, except more hideous. With all those detonations. All those Hiroshimas going off in your own country all the time. That's fucking stupid, man. You don't get any more stupider than that. Hang on. They got the super funds. Wait, I'll get past that. Yeah, 22 million bombs a year back in the 70s, 60s. That's fucked up, okay? That's some demented stuff. Here we go. Let me touch on the radium girls again. 1917. They were licking their paintbrushes to put these little dots on the watches so you can see them in the dark for the war machine, right? And this was radium. And so each little dot, they would lick radium, ingest radioactive radium, and put a little dot on it. And they had to fight for their rights later on. It's an impressive story. 4,000 workers were hired by corporations in U.S. and Canada to paint watch faces with radium. They mix glue, water, and radium power, and then use camel hair brushes to apply the glowing radioactive paint onto dials. For painting 250 dials a day was about a penny and a half per dial, or 0.28 cents per dial. Some demented stuff, right? Now, dead cows, there was a lot of that going on. You're still seeing that rhetoric out there. This is nuclear scientists out there killing farmers' cattle and destroying the carcasses, and then having the media portray it as aliens to hide the fact that there was massive radioactive releases into the community, that they had to go out and do shit like that. But there's always releases in the community. They never tell you. If they do, they'll mention bananas, they'll mention sunshine, they'll mention water. If you've done that in front of me, they get a slap up the side of their head right fast. Let me catch a couple more. You would find the removal of soft organs and the lower body, the stripping of hide and flesh from the jaw and areas directly beneath the ear to the bone, major organs such as heart or liver, lips, tongues deeply cut out from the throat, sexual organs. This was the military and the nuclear industry going out to see what kind of damage was going on in the community, and they needed to go out and do some autopsies. They were probably digging up dead people that died of heart attacks and strokes the same night, you know, and taking those organs and going testing on them. I mean, not probably, they were doing that. And I mean, they were killing thousands and thousands of puppies and dogs every year. They were giving hundreds of people radioactive doses without their consent every year. It's unbelievable what they were up to. There was 130 mutilations in Colorado alone. 200 goats were mutilated in Indonesia. I've done that again. Hang on. Oh. Yeah, Montana, South Dakota, New Mexico, Texas. Radioactive fallout. Think about 50 detonations of Nagasaki bombs in, Alaska and places like this. That radioactive fallout could, well, just one of them could make it easily to the other side of the country. No problem at all. Make it right around the planet, no problem at all, if you get something to the jet stream. And a nuclear detonation can send it up 8, 9, 10 miles, which is more than enough to get into the jet streams. And when you're doing 30, 40, 50, not counting Germany, not counting Russia or China or India or Pakistan or any other country out there, you can see what we're up against. It's just hell on earth. And they hide it, they try to marginalize it, they attack us for saying stop fucking doing that. It's wrong. It's stupid. It's maniacal. There's no reason to do that to our planet. You fucked over the Pacific Ocean with St. Paddy's Day all day, every day, non-stop, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, hemorrhaging into the ocean like St. Paddy's Day River. Because I think that's the only thing that really makes sense to people every time I say that. Because every time I say that to people in my personal life now, they get it right away. They're like, oh, fuck. I can shut them down in a heartbeat. Yeah, Lori, they suffered with the radiant dials, that's for sure. Okay, folks. Another wind down coming up here. I yacked my head off again. Blah, blah, blah. It's just been such a long day. I just wanted to come out and try to get rid of some of this so we can get through it all. Hang on, let me see if we get a couple more. Oh, yeah, I fucked up. We're up around 2,000 or something anyway. Let me see what we got going on down here. Sergeant Standing Foot, Youngie. We destroy what you or save. The insanity continues. MSVS. Wannabe 24 live. Jill Clarkson. Hi, Magic. Magic's here. I'm missing something. Jill Clarkson, Pam, Adam, Albert, Big Now TV, Irinarel. Missing Sky. Computer crash too. Alex. Nubaru Magic is here. You'll find his link below if you're watching this later. I haven't seen him yet, but I'll find him here now in a second. Miss Milky, having computer problems. The yin and yang. Wow, everybody's computers having problems. Let me see. What we got going on here? Nubaru Magic 2012's computer crashed. And folks don't know who that is. He's a blogger, and he's on it, and he brings all the other stories in with his stuff, and that's really good. You'll find links below, and if you're catching it live, you'll see his link there in the comment section. And Mr. Sky says we had a nice radioactive spring rainfall today. And we got a couple minutes left. 4 minutes left. I'll sit here and see if I can catch a few comments coming through. Good luck. Now, so everybody's got computer problems, so Miss Milky won't be giving me any. Albert. Yeah, Night John. 3 hour show says MSVS. That's coming. Thanks, Adam. And we had some of those radium clocks. Did you? Cats Alive? Wow. Thanks, Nom Nom Nom. Thank you, Pam. You're too kind. Big Now TV, blah, 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 blah. You know me. I'm always sitting here with a smile. No matter how rough a day I have, I sit here, I put a smile on it, and I tell it like it is. Fuck it. Just get it off my chest so I can get some sleep. Yeah, tomorrow's another day. Checks and balances. Ice Wall, Lunar Legion, Radioactive Banana Night, Bob. Oh, you're welcome now, Big Now. Mervin, thank you. Thirst, Megan Rice, God bless Megan Rice. I'm not religious, but God bless her. Bless her. That's the only thing I can really say because I was indoctrinated with that stuff. But, you know, I haven't forgot about her. That's horrible what's going on, that people are put into jail and they're taken advantage of because they're friggin' effective and that the system can't deal with it. And Megan knows what she's doing and it's just horrible. Hi, Kurtzer K. Hi, Carrie. Miss Milky. Reram. Friends. Gloss. You're welcome. Thank you. Night. Fookie Hounds. There's all kinds of links below, folks. Thank you, Lori. Nip Killer. Yeah, we need a full... we'll have one comment when I get the .org up and running, so I am going to do that. In case anybody's wondering, I had never said anything all night. I had a long day thinking about this and talking about this and digging down into it, and I'm going to be doing it. It's going to take a little bit longer than I want, but that's okay. We're ready to go anyway. Everything else is looking, we're getting tight now to the point somewhere in the next week or so. Things are going to be making a jump for us for the better. And yeah, Nubro Magic sends out hugs for everybody. Hi, Dan B. And everybody else, Sergeant York, Spider Guy, Zip Free, Kathy, Don't Nuke Cows, China3 says, Jill, Selma, Dang Tang. Hard to pronounce your name, I'm sorry. But night for you too. Thank you, Original Punisher. Yeah, hugs we destroy. I will, Nubro Magic, just like you, boy. I don't know how you do it, but you do a great job every time, man. I don't miss nothing, trust me. That's the whole point with me. I can't keep up with it, but I watch it all. At least I listen to it all, and I download everything. And I chop out the stuff I want for later. And hopefully I ever gets around to it. You're welcome, David, Amthurst, Albert. I'm just winding down. Anybody don't know what's going on? I'm just going to see if I can catch one final question before I give it up. Grandma Goalie. And Kate's got Fookie Hound sites over there. It's a her, you know, she's putting a lot of work. It's hard stuff, folks. And there's a link below to that. Strontium Mike and everybody else. Ed DePriest, hey bud. John Wantling, thank you from UK, you bet. Everybody else, I'll come in and read your comments. Fuckers got me signing in again. Hang on before it signs off. Still got a minute left yet. Friggers, eh? So I'm going to have to sign her twice in that computer now because I just signed in on this computer again. What a bunch of dicks. Anyway, we'll catch everybody tomorrow night. Not much I can do. Thank you, Amthers. Yeah, some nights I hit it right on the ball. Some nights I'm just farting around. But the whole point is, you know, what I think what I'm kind of doing, dear, is what I've been doing for a long time. Like, you can't do hard things sustained right away. You have to build up to that. And that's probably what we're doing here now. What I'm doing is I'm building myself up, even though a lot of nights I just can't do it, but I do it anyway. I get through it. But I'm training myself to do, you know, to go the entire days, basically. I'm pushing myself all the time. And I don't have to go out and search anymore the way I used to. I have that knowledge. So that makes it a lot easier. And so I'm more interested in listening and reading, see what's new and going on for everybody. And I'm trying to keep it in the context. And at the same time, I'm trying to do a documentary, get the .org up on the go, get in the freaking studio, trying to organize it all, to do it all legit, so I can do press releases, so I can push it out, right? And I'm thinking of the Fukushima Hounds all the time. I have that on my mind a lot. And how can I better arm them? Right? I have to focus, and that's what the .org is going to be about for me. That's the commitment I'm going to have now, is I'm going to be able to provide you with you know, video when I'm doing these streams, pictures and video, high quality, without stuttering, conquer it all, pay for all of that stuff, and then be able to do these presentations and dedicate it to that, right? And so it's quite a commitment that I got going on here. And I had struggled, can I do that? And I realize I cannot do it. I got no choice but to do that. And so I'm gone down that path, and it's harder than I expected, but it's not that hard. I won't accomplish it down the road in the near future. So I will, because I'm on that path. There's no turning back for me. And the idea is to give people a venue and information. And I don't give a fuck about myself. I care about defeating the narrative so they can't use it no more. And I think that's pretty obvious, anybody that knows me for either bit of time at all, that there's no gratification in the things I do. It's exhausting to do what I'm doing all the time. It's unbelievably exhausting. But it's gratifying in that I can take their narrative and destroy it with your help. I can't do anything by myself. I can't exist doing this without your help and without. I can't do it myself. I have to do it myself because I'm worried that people out there won't be able to find a narrative like this and be able to escape the lies and the bananas and the background radiation of sunshine routine, and will never know and never have the opportunity to know and make their own informed decisions. That drives me and had always driven me, right? Is that I understand that hopelessness, and I can't stand the thought that there are people out there constantly that can't get the real information like you folks have, right? You folks are all at this stage really good, really articulate. And there's so many people out there that don't understand, but once they hear the information, right? Because I do that in my real life and I see the instant switch. If you give it to them, they'll get it. And so that's why what we do is so important. That's all we're doing. We're educating people with real information, and then they can make informed decisions, because these are important. And the other side is not going to tell the truth, and we got no options. And so that's why we exist, and we're up to that task. We have no issues with that. That's what they want. That's what they'll get. Catch everybody more all night.